both of them are through anyway. The other game's still ongoing. We'll bring you the full-time score when it comes in, 2-0 to Peru. But look, Didi, we hoped for goals. You can see by the muted reaction on the pitch, both teams, look, they got what they needed, and that pretty much feels what it's like here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I was hoping to see a reaction from the French team, especially the players coming in. I know it suits both of them. We've seen some excellent games in this World Cup. I think this goes down as one of the worst, if not the worst game. There was hardly any goal-mouth action. It was dreadful. It was a dreadful game.
We had 37 games before we got a nil-all.
Yeah, true.
And it felt like this from early on.
And we should be grateful for that.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm so disappointed is that if you're a player in a tournament, you go to a tournament and you're not in the first 11, obviously you want your team to do well. So they were in the perfect situation that they won games without impressing. Now, for the 6 players coming in today, you couldn't have a better situation. You're through to the next round, you qualified, you come in. If you do well, you've got a very good chance to stay in the team for the next game. And none of these 6 showed anything today. They weren't helped by the other 5 who played the first 2 games. But none of them 6 showed anything. There were some offensive players where you just need to show a bit of a spark to show the manager, you can count on me here. But that wasn't the case today. And yeah, you need to get out of the group. We said it before, they won the group. So we don't want to be too harsh on them. But I really worry. I agree with Damien. I thought they may have a sniff this year. But what I've seen in the first 3 games doesn't suggest they are really contenders.
Michael, just on that point that Didi's making about Didier Deschamps and what he has tonight, when he looks through and he feels like nobody has impressed, what sort of a place does it leave a manager in?
I actually think he's benefited from this game, as bad as it was, because I was just looking through the squads. He's given 18 of the 20 players that they have game time. Any criticism in the media will always revolve around who should play. It'll always revolve around the players that are left out of the team. He has given players opportunity. So whatever team he picks in the last 16, I think, you know, they can't say that he's leaving players out that have deserved a place in that team. So, I mean, I think when he looks at the 3 games, the changes in the system, how he's tweaked it, I think possibly he'll go back to his team, as close to his team that he played in the second game, possibly, when it comes to the knockout stage of the tournament. But, you know, he's given players opportunity in terms of managing the players in the camp. He's not... The players have no real reason to go up and say, I haven't been given an opportunity, other than the 2 that haven't got on the pitch. And so, from his point of view, I think, you know, he's learned a lot about his players today, and whether, when it goes deep into the tournament, whether, you know, he can trust them going forward.
The full-time whistle in the other game has gone, by the way. Peru beating Australia by 2-0, so confirming that Australia are definitely out. For Peru, look, I mean, they did get their first goal in 36 years at the tournament, Damien, as well. They got 2 of them today. You see the scenes there with Australia. And look, I mean, for Peru, it's a great story, but Australia really disappointed there. I mean, you thought maybe they might get something.
I was hoping, but listen, I watched Peru, especially in the first game, and they should have beaten Denmark in the first game. Denmark rode their luck. Peru missed a penalty, and they were impressive to create a lot of chances. It was just that end product. So, listen, it's what they deserve. I was hoping Australia would go through, because I'm obviously a big fan of the country, but not to be. I said it's been a fairy tale for Peru. You can see they've won today, but how disappointed they are with obviously going home. But yeah, a very proud nation. Haven't been there in 36 years. So, listen, they're definitely one to watch. Keep an eye on, maybe in the South American, that they'll be back again, because they were a very exciting team to watch. Korea out in the right. Guerrero, he probably won't be around next time after his drugs ban, but I think everyone's happy that he got a run out in the tournament. Quavo, listen, disappointing. He missed a penalty the other day. He looked heartbroken. He probably still is. But no, listen, I think you can safely say the 2 best teams went through in the group, and I say best teams as in Denmark, because they're so well organised. French team, listen, they've been a poorer watch for me, but on paper, yeah, they're the best squads. Just looking at that again, they're a strange team to watch. They don't look like a proper team. They're not fluid. There's no real patterns to their play. Individuals for me are off at the minute, and like we always talk about momentum in your first 3 games. Like I would be worried about them, because I don't think they're going into the next round with momentum or in any form whatsoever.
OK, we'll talk about France a little bit more in just a moment, but let's just confirm the table as it stands. Right at the top, you do see France 7 points already through as group winners. Now Denmark going through as the second place team on 5 points, and as we just said, Peru and Australia going home. It means that France will play the runners-up in Group D. That, of course, we play tonight, and Denmark will be playing the winners. Damien, just like on your point about France, just to go back to that, sorry, I just wanted to confirm the table while we were doing that. But look, is exciting football the most important thing, or is winning? Like from Deschamps' point of view, is he just saying, listen, we're done with that, we're into the knockout stages, and now maybe we can show a little bit more?
Well, maybe what he was as a player is representing the team. Maybe now, I think he was called a water carrier, was he? He was defensive minded, but I think, listen, everyone does be on his case in France. The way his team is set up, they don't see any involvement of how they've evolved, over since he's took over. And it's just with the personnel, just when you go through the squad, I guess we're expecting more. We're expecting a watch. Like the lad said, it was a disappointing watch today. I don't think they're going into the next round playing well. Individually, like I said, Dembele, I know he's had a tough season injury-wise, but he's way off for me at the minute. The only person that stood out for me today, and it's not because I'm a fan, but Mbappe, he came on for 10, 12 minutes, but he showed personality in the ball, a tempo, an edge. The lads talked about, the big hitters trying to do something. He was trying things, flicks, tricks, whatever, and he looked the most dangerous player, and he was only on 12 minutes. So I don't think they have momentum going in. I know it's a bit of a contradiction because they've won the group, but they're not playing well.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Damien's point certainly tells you a great glimpse into what we've just sat through for the last 90 minutes. Well, we've gone 37 games into the tournament, 38 now make that, and we finally got a 0-all draw. Let's face it, it was going to happen sometime, but ultimately both of these teams have gotten what they needed out of the game. It is France and Denmark who will advance to the knockout stages. The other game, well, we knew Australia needed to win it, but it was Andre Carrillo getting the opener for Peru in this one, and what a beautiful strike for Peru's first goal in 36 years at the World Cup. Guerrero then went from provider to goal scorer for Peru's second. This one after he served in the middle of a drugs ban. Nice way for him to get on the score sheet at the tournament. Peru are going home, but they're celebrating that one tonight. The other game, the one that we watched, a 0-all draw between France and Denmark. And Michael, look, let's have a look at what you're calling the story of the game, and ultimately this is sort of how it all played out.
Yeah, we picked this clip because basically it does encompass. We see Eriksson take the corner here. We highlight him. Obviously it's punch clear. Denmark are up in the game, ball comes in, and the ball breaks now. Now France have a brilliant counter-attack chance here. We watch Eriksson. We look at the Danish recovery, look at the Danish players getting back. Eriksson holds the play up, and now we look at it now. They have 8 players behind the ball. France can only get 1 player in an advanced situation, 2 with Mendy. And that to me was very much the story of the game. Denmark's desire to defend was much greater than France's desire to attack. And as a result of that, we got what we got. A game devoid of goal-mouth action, devoid of any real creativity. And, as we talked about the first 0-0. But Denmark, it's great. We talked about Eriksson in the lead-up to the previous 2 games, how significant he is, what a big player he is. But we saw another side of his game today. He played a little bit deeper. He did a lot of work off the ball. He still had the best attacking moments for them as well. But, as I say, Denmark can look at the tournament now as a success because they've made it out of the group. They're at the knockout stages. Who's to say how far they can go? But as I say, from the coach's point of view, he's done a very good job. Yeah,
he certainly has. OK, well, that's the Danish point of view. From the French point of view, Damien, I mean, we're going to call these chances, but I don't really know if that's the right word.
Apologies in advance. Yeah, listen, as good as Denmark were in their setup, you'd expect the French team to offer more going forward, especially with their quality on paper. This is Lemar, one of the few times he drifts out to the wing, and Fekir, a nice strike, puts a bit of fade on it, but never really threatened. Denmark a good block here, and I think this just sums up their day. Giroud, taking a crazy volley on the edge of the box. He's one of the best headers in the game. Should just be in the width of the goalposts and getting crosses into him. But again, well done Denmark. A lot of the shots and chances, if you can call them, were from outside the box because France just couldn't get a sniff, couldn't create anything. So we were hard pressed to find really a package at all. Said, look how many bodies are in there. I think that's Mbappe. And that's the one thing with the French team for me. I've watched them a bit now. I went to watch the pre-World Cup game with against Italy where they won 3-1, and they're just all so narrow. And then their only bit of width comes from the fullbacks, which we could have done a package on the fullbacks delivery, was very poor. You know, Mbappe, Lamar, Dembele, like I touched on at half-time, get them out in the touchline, spread the pitch, you know, stay away from the ball. They're always just coming into the mix, and there's so many bodies, and France are always going to come up against teams that defend narrow, defend compact, and it's just hard to create.
Why do they play like that? Because, you know, even when the manager that they have and the flair and everything in France, people would think, you know, this is going to be great attacking football. Look at the list of names they have there.
Well, listen, I think Michael and Diddy will, I'm sure, agree. If you go around the top teams around the world now, the fullbacks are the wingers. They play so high, and the wingers come inside more as number 10s. But I said, when it's so compact, you just want them to maybe come away from the game and get in the ball, because that last clip there is laughable. Mbappe's trying to turn into 3, 4, 5 lads. But like I said, the top teams, their fullbacks are their wingers. But maybe the French fullbacks maybe aren't up to it.
Seeing them now for the first 3 games, I've got to question the desire from each of these players to sacrifice themselves for their teammate, because sometimes when you've got a packed defence, we all know, we've seen it in this World Cup, it's very hard to break down, and you've got to be patient, you've got to pick the right passes. But if you do want to break him down, sometimes you need somebody running off the ball, go behind the back line, and it creates a new picture for somebody else. And sometimes you have to make a run knowing you won't receive the ball. And I'm not sure whether these players are prepared to do this knowing they don't get the ball. So you've got to do a 30, 40-yard sprint to get behind the back line, create a new picture, and one of your teammates maybe finds a bit of space and can create something. And what I've seen, you've got to complement each other. And as Damien said, these are individuals. They're very, very good players. They've got outstanding individual quality. Can they bring it into a team full of stars? Because in their clubs, most of these players will be the main player. Now, in this team, they are not. And I question whether they've got that desire and that the will to make a run off the ball for 40 yards, knowing they don't get it, and create a new picture for their teammates.
Michael, I would question whether that's the job of the manager.
Totally, yeah. I mean, we always talk about discipline in a team. I think there's a lack of discipline, France, when they don't have the ball from an attacking point of view. You know, I've watched close quarters Manchester City this season and watched how they trained and watched Guardiola work with the team, and the discipline they have in their attacking shape. You know, you never see Leroy Sané wandering away in the pitch, he stays wide. You never see Raheem Sterling or Bernardo Silva if he plays wide. They have a real discipline in the position that they should be in to receive the ball. And I don't think this French team certainly don't have that. What they have is 4 outstanding players at times, or in the first game we saw them play with 3 outstanding players without Giroud, and they just threw them out in the pitch, and they expect, because they're individual players, that they will have this automatic connectivity in their play. They get the ball in bad areas, they're too easy to get doubled up on, and you know, as I say, they do look to me like a team that hasn't really gelled in terms of in the forward 4, I would say. Giroud gave them a bit of a focal point, but the other 3 players behind them, regardless of who it's been, Mbappe showed us little bits, have all been disappointing. Griezmann's been very disappointing.
Damien, you've been in a team with stars like that. Let's say at Chelsea when Mourinho had you. I mean, that's a team littered with stars. How does he get individuals to all of a sudden start playing? I don't want to go way off topic, but like, how do you do it?
Well, I remember we played Barcelona, so that clip that Michael showed there about them breaking, and our team game plan against Barcelona was to sit back, be tight, be compact, win it back and go and kill them. And if that clip, if you remember, we just showed it there where Eriksen tracks back, we would always break, we'd always counter-attack a lot quicker than the other team would recover. So, listen, it comes from the manager. It's obviously different at Man United now, but like Chelsea, he built a proper group, so tight-knit, and I'm not sure about the French team like that. Whether it's tight knit, and that, like the lads say, that all does come from the manager. I'm not questioning Deschamps at all.
Yeah.
Like I thought, honestly, coming into this tournament, he'd build up momentum. The squad, Euro 2016, they looked a good team. Disappointed, obviously, in the final, and that's why they were one of my favourites, Diddy, as well, for this tournament. So whether it comes from the manager, possibly that side with the motivation, the building team spirit, but definitely the setup. But just like Michael said, it's just like a forward, just go out and play and have a kick about. Whereas I'm going on about the wingers coming inside. If you look at Man City, Sané stands on the touchline for the whole game. Sterling stands on the touchline for the whole game. So that comes from the manager, without doubt.
Yeah, they're a team blessed with, there's unbelievable pace in this French team, yet we've not seen it. I can't think of any real moment where we've seen a brilliant counter-attack or a real brilliant piece of play where one player's done someone for pace and it's created something in the game. They all look as if they're playing at sort of three-quarter pace, half pace at times. And, if you can't get men the other side of the opposition like we showed on the clip, then you're never going... That was a perfect chance to create an overload for the situation. Like, Christian Eriksen's the deepest man on the pitch. He's taking the corner, yet he can get back. France, in that period of 50, 60 yards, can only get one player advanced of Christian Eriksen. It tells you everything, I think, about where their minds are in the game and what, they feel is their role in the game. Are they prepared to run off the ball? And certainly today we didn't see that.
Yeah, well, what we did see, Didi, was an awful lot of wasted chances and France just being wasteful. So many opportunities in this game.
Yeah, well, there's talk about extending the World Cup from 32 to 48 teams. Now, if you didn't know that this was France playing in blue shorts and white shirts, you would have said there's too many teams at this World Cup because it was desperate. And this just, I don't even know how to explain that. This is a guy who's valued at 80 million. Now, if this happens on a Sunday morning, you've got a problem. Or the manager will ask you whether you've been on the lash the day before. It was just desperate stuff from France, and moving further ahead or looking ahead a week or 2 weeks in the tournament. What do you want to see? Yes, they won the group and they'll be happy. They only scored 3 goals in an okay group. It wasn't the best group. It wasn't the worst group. They haven't really created anything. The goals, I think we alluded to before, penalty, an own goal and a tap-in from half a yard from Mbappe. You want these players, these forward players are the ones who got to win you the World Cup. I think defensively they are solid, but if you want to win games, you've got to score goals. And I just worry for them, and I wouldn't be worried playing them at all. I don't think they are a team, and I think this is something I may have misjudged because I saw games in the build-up, in the lead-up to the World Cup, and I thought he's got a united group there. And as Damien said, they had a very good Euro where they came very close of winning it at home. And I think I misjudged this team. I think they flattered to deceive in the 3 games they played so far. And I think they deceived a lot of people. And on this form, on what I've seen, I don't think they are contenders. And I won't be surprised if in the next game or the one after this is the end for France, because they're just not playing well. And if you're not playing well, to find form during the World Cup is very hard. To change the momentum, the mentality of the team, it's almost impossible in a tournament. And I think they haven't got it in them.
What about Denmark then, Michael? I mean, they had a couple of chances today that we're going to have a look at as well.
Yeah, we had to search long and hard for these. It's about a 50-yard free kick from Eriksen. It's a good strike, and Cornelius should be up on it a little bit quicker. But I think the fact that Eriksen shot from that distance, it showed his assessment of the game in terms of what chances they may have. So another one comes in here. This is the best chance of the game, actually, only because it falls to the player that on the pitch you would expect to take it, which is Eriksen. We saw him score earlier in the tournament in Game 2 with a fantastic left-footed strike. This is on a stronger side. Cornelius is in a bit of a suspect position, but as long as he stays inactive, and you would expect Eriksen to hit the target from there. But they were the only 2 chances they had in the game. They had 1 or 2 balls in the box from set pieces. France dealt with that. They were very direct, as we talked about in the footage in the first half where they went long. Ryder will be pleased with the team he picked because he de-risked the game. He played a centre-back in midfield, took a midfield player out, so he made himself a little bit stronger there. He put pace and work in the wide areas with Braithwaite on that side and Sisto, who did a good job defensively, and he put height up front. But overall, Denmark now go to the round of 16. They're on a high because they've exceeded, well, they've met expectation at the very least. Now, if they can win a game and go to the quarterfinals, it's going to be up there with their most successful World Cups in their history.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, it is Denmark and France who are going through to the round of 16.